A very, very good morning, and it's a Saturday, the 5th of November 2022, and we're back on your screens to discuss nothing but the best of Zambian football. And, of course, our young lads who are plying their trade outside the country will be discussing that, and probably it's a very, very, very good and well-packed program on a very, very rainy Saturday morning in Lusaka, where we have been experiencing a very nice and brilliant weather. It's been raining throughout the night, and it's still raining, drizzling outside, and it's a good morning, and I would like to welcome my usual friend and colleague, Augustine. Good morning, and have a nice weekend.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Robson, and good morning to all the viewers out there. We return all the glory and honor to the Most High God, and it's been an eventful week. The last time we were here, Zambia was hosting Sierra Leone at the Hero Stadium, and congratulations to the Under-23 and Coach Oswald Mutapa for guiding the boys into the next round, where we'll face the Egyptians in March. Novan Andrew Piri, he's the most happening striker currently in Zambian football.
FC Musa, the late
exactly. Yeah, I think brilliant boy. He's a very, very good finisher. You can see the way he took the goal, his confidence beating defenders and finishing it. That boy is destined for greatness.
Yeah, indeed, he's destined for greatness. And last weekend again, we highly spoke about our ladies, Green Buffaloes FC, who are representing the country at the tournament in Morocco, where they won one, lost one, and now they have a very, very tough encounter this evening against the Simba Girls of Tanzania. We can only wish them all the best. And Augustine, very quickly before we take a break, let's look at the girls, the GBFC girls, and how they performed. They outwitted a team called Determined by 4-0 and went on to lose by 2-1 in that very, very terrible defending by our girl.
Yeah, I think if coming from the first game, that was GBFC debut at the Champions League, and they showed a lot of character. They are very, very confident on the ball. They controlled the entire game. I think Irene Lungu, she's one of the most outstanding players, not just in Zambia, but in African women's football at the moment. She's in brilliant form. She scored a lot of goals at the COSAFA to see GBFC qualify to this tournament, and she was at the heart of things again in Morocco. You could see her first goal was scored by young Maweta, a promising young lad. She's been part of the Shipolo Polo setup for a while now. She was part of the Africa Cup, finished, which went on to finish third. We have got Natasha Nanyangwe, another brilliant young upcoming player. It was a very, very good and solid performance by GBFC. They looked like they were going to put more than 4 past the Determined girls, and then they came up against the Moroccan champions, who happened to be the hosts. Yeah, it was a very, very difficult game for the girls. Technically, I felt they were above us, and tactically they were a little bit superior.
They were playing like men.
Exactly. Yeah, you could see the energy they brought to the game. But we held our own. We could have drawn that game, and we had poor defending. I think by experienced players who we feel shouldn't be so clumsy, especially in the box. We conceded through penalties. We gave away 2 penalties, and they were very, very clinical, and they conceded, they scored from it. But now we are going up against a Simba side who I feel this is a 50-50 game. GBFC are very, very well equipped. You look at our players, a lot of them, they are part of the Africa Cup, so that experience, they'll take it into this encounter against Simba, and hopefully GBFC will make it to the semi-finals.
Hoping that GBFC represents the country very, very well in that intriguing encounter this evening. The game is going to kick off at 2100 hours, and it's Simba women's team versus Green Buffaloes of Zambia. And we saw the coach bubbling with confidence after the 4-0 victory, and they went on to play a game where they conceded 2 penalties and 2 goals out of that game. And I think inexperience was the order of the day, and we can only wish the GBFC ladies team all the best as they continue to represent the country this evening. And for now, we'll take a very, very quick break. More to come on the other side as we look at Moses Sichone's squad, as well as the Zambian Super League games and National Division 1 games that will be taking place this weekend. For now, we'll be joined on the other side with more stories that will come up.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet Channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
Onions, maize, potatoes, tomatoes, chilies. At Rainglow, we supply great quality irrigation for the mentioned crops and more at an affordable price. Get our 2,000 meter flat drip for as low as 2,900 kwacha, or our 500 meter round hose for 1,300 kwacha. Customize your own spacing with our 500 meter blank round hose going for 1,200 kwacha, ideal for orchards such as avocado, mango, banana, oranges, etc. Rainglow Irrigation, best quality, best price.
Welcome back to the show that discusses nothing but the best of local football. And now, we were just talking about the GBFC team that is out there in Morocco representing the country, and probably tonight they should just avoid defeat against Simba for them to progress to the next round, and we can only wish them all the best as they continue to fly our Zambian flag high at that tournament. Before we move away from women's football, Augustine, let's look at the squad that Coach Bruce Mwape has called for the friendly that will be coming up on the 12th of November against Colombia. And Coach Bruce Mwape has announced a big squad, a 32-member squad that consists of the following. We have Letitia Lungu from Zesco Girls, Catherine Msonda from Indeni Roses. We have Eunice Sakala from Nkwazi Queens, Hazel Nali from Faith in Teki, Agnes Banda of National Assembly. That completes the list of goalkeepers that will be participating in that particular friendly encounter on the 12th of November. On the defenders, we have Esther Banda from Busa, Martha Tembo, Lusho Mumwemba, Agnes Msesa, Esther Siamfunko, all Green Buffaloes Football Club. This is a very serious defense from a defense force. And now we have Pauline Zulu from Lusaka Dynamos Ladies, Vast Piri from Zesco Girls, Beth Imponene from Police Doves. We have Margaret Belemu from Teki, Judith Soko from Yasa Girls, Elizabeth Nachivula, Mary Mlenga, both of Red Arrows. In the midfield department, where we expect a lot of creativity, this is where we have our very own and enterprising. This is the time when I miss Aaron. He speaks highly of Evelyn Katongo. We have Evelyn Katongo, Irene Nungu from Green Buffaloes, and Susan Banda, Mary Mambwe, Mary Wilombe, all Red Arrows. Avoch Tundu from Zesco Girls, Rhoda Chilesha, Indeni Roses, Eneles Piri, Misozi Zulu, Siomara Mapepa, Lusaka Dynamos, and Grace Chanda from Spain. For the strikers, we have our very own and very, very organized and enterprising. One striker that I always ask Augustine whether I will forever be convinced that she's good, but this is Ochumba Oseke Lubanji from Red Arrows. She normally likes harassing the defenders, but her finishing is not very much on point. But we'll come to look at that a little later. We have Priska Chirufia, Red Arrows, Rachel Nachula from Rio Zaragoza in Spain, Rachel Kundananji from Madrid in Spain as well. That completes a 32-member squad, and Coach Bruce Mwape is preparing the team. We know that BB11 is missing from the squad because of COVID restrictions, because she will need to be quarantined for a lengthy period for her to go and play in that particular game. Augustine, how do you look at this particular squad that Coach Bruce has got?
I think apart from Barbara Banda, not too many surprises in terms of omissions. When you look at the goalkeeping department, we've got Hazel Nali, safe pair of hands. She's going to be pushed all the way by Catherine. Catherine has done well in the absence of Hazel Nali. She's a very, very good goalkeeper. And another one, I think an interesting one, is Agnes Banda. She's a graduate. We always talk about Msonda Kapembwa, the graduate from Napsa Stars.
Of course, we need to sing accolades and, for the girls as well.
We've got Agnes Banda from National Assembly. She's a graduate as well. You look at the defense, we've got experience here like Lusho Momwemba, Martha Tembo, Margaret Bulemu, Agnes. I think these are Agnes Msesa. These are the players that brought glory to Mother Zambia. We've seen the inclusion of Vast Piri. She was missing at the Africa Cup of Nations, but she was part of the team which went for the Olympics. Vast Piri, very, very good defender from Zesco United. In central midfield, we've got a veteran who returns to the squad in Susan Banda of Red Arrows. She's been missing for a very, very long time. When it comes to,
she was on leave.
I think that's a story for another day. She's been missing from the squad for so many years, but she's back. She will bring a little bit of experience, and she'll bring quality to that central midfield. She gives the coach a lot of options now to try and pick and change his midfield. And up front, likewise, Grace Chanda, she's one of those strikers who are doing very, very well in terms of women's football in Africa. Even in Europe, where she's gone to Spain, she's doing fantastically. Kundananji, she's back in the national team as well. And Helen, is it from Rio Zaragoza? Yeah, I think it's Rachel Nachula. Sorry, Rachel Nachula. She's back in the national team. It's a very, very good selection by Bruce Mwape. It comprises both of experience and youth. So when we blend them together, we will come up with a formidable squad which will try and prepare themselves for the World Cup. These two friendlies against Colombia give us a very, very good platform to assess ourselves where we are as a country in terms of readiness when we are going to the World Cup, because the World Cup is a very, very different ball game. It's the highest level in terms of football. So these girls, they cannot ask for something better than this. They already have this big stage coming up for them.
Well, all said and done with regards to the women's national soccer team, and we can only wish the Bruce Mwape-led technical bench and the entire ladies team all the best in that friendly on the 12th of November as they face Colombia. All these games are being done in preparation to the World Cup, where we will be away and probably playing a very, very competitive group where we are, and we wish them all the best. Shifting our focus to local football, Augustine, let's look at how the FAS National Division 1 table looks like when it comes to Trident and Mighty Mvula Wanderers. They keep swapping positions week in, week out. Let's begin by looking at the table before we look at the fixtures of the FAS National Division 1 log table, and the positions are as follows. Trident, having played 10 games, are sitting on 21 points, followed by one Mufulira Wanderers, who also have, they dropped points last weekend and they ended up getting to second position. They had a very, very quick swap last weekend, and looks like their consistency when it comes to coming back to the Super League keeps on going on a seesaw, and they keep changing positions with Trident, Augustine, before we proceed and look at the fixtures.
Yeah, if you look at Mighty Mvula Wanderers, they missed it by a whisker last season. Brave Changa Rangers pipped them to the fourth spot. But this time around, they cannot mess it up. Mighty Mvula Wanderers, not only do they need to get promoted back to the Super League, but they need to be crowned champions, so that they come in with a big statement to the Super League teams to try and send shockwaves across the league, because Mighty Mvula Wanderers are a very, very big powerhouse of Zambian football, and it will be good to see them bounce back. Now we've got the old boys in Ghana Football Club, Njanga Rangers, Mighty Mvula Wanderers. We need to see these teams back into the Super League. But for City of Lusaka, you might not know, with City of Lusaka, I don't think they're a team that look like they might come back into the Super League. But looking at Mighty Mvula Wanderers, the race that they have had with Trident have strengthened during this transfer market. They brought in a lot of players, and I felt probably they will find it difficult in gelling all the players, but they seem to have a plan going down there. They are very, very hard to beat, especially at home, and you see they've got experience here like Justin Zulu, Anos Tembo. These are players that will help Trident get back into the Premier League. Lingoma. So it's going to be a battle between Trident and Mighty Mvula Wanderers to try and see who qualifies for the Absa Cup, because now teams are now looking at the qualification for Absa Cup. We are almost halfway through the season. This should be their first target of the season, and now it's getting closer and closer. They need to be putting points on the board. Mighty Mvula Wanderers, what they need to do is to be a little bit more consistent on the road. They have been poor playing away from home.
They failed to beat Livingston Pirates the last time they went out, and that led to actually them dropping to second position on that log table. Let's look at this afternoon's fixtures in the National Division 1. We have Atletico hosting Mtondo Stars at the Toyota Sports Arena at 13 hours. And you know, Atletico, the young lads are very, very enterprising, Augustine. And at 15 hours, we have Aguila Stars hosting Bats at the same venue at the Toyota Sports Arena. Indeni will host Kafue Celtic at Indeni Sports Complex in Ndola. Kafue Eagles will host Livingston Pirates at Kosa Stadium. Kitwe United will be hosting City of Lusaka at Garden Park Stadium in Kitwe. And Konkola Blades will be hosting Young Green Buffaloes at Konkola Stadium. And last but not the least, Zesco Malaiti will be hosting the league leaders in Trident at the Unilas Grounds in Chongwe. Is it Silverest? In Silverest. Very quickly, Augustine, these are very, very interesting fixtures. We are seeing Mighty Mvula Wanderers is on by this. They are not playing a game today. They will be probably be waiting to see what happens to Trident, as they probably hope that they get beaten at the Unilas Ground by this community. I know Emmanuel Oswale's squad has been there has been a little bit of consistency. I think, remember how this community started the season? They started very well. We saw the movement of their coach before they brought in Emmanuel Swale, and now Emmanuel Swale is the one shepherding the team, and a very big host to the league leaders in Trident this afternoon at the Unilas Grounds.
it's going to be a very, very tough encounter. Zesco Malaiti, I think the last 18 months they've been blowing hot and cold. Last season they were in the relegation zones up until the veteran Lupia got them out of trouble and got them to safe land. This time around, they started the season on a very, very poor note. They were very, very deep in the relegation waters, but they seem now that they're getting their mojo back. They're getting results on the board, and hosting a Trident side is going to be very, very difficult for them. This is a team which is very, very high in confidence. They have got a lot of experience in their ranks, like I had said earlier. And at the Unilas, every team loves to play at the Unilas. It's a very, very good turf. Teams enjoy playing football there.
To be honest, Augustine, that pitch, the first time you and I went there, we saw the quality of that pitch. It's probably, no disrespect to Nkwazi Football Club, I think Nkwazi needs to visit that stadium. Edwin Imboila Stadium looks like a training ground when you go to Unilas grounds. That's a perfect set stadium,
exactly
fit for Premier League football,
and it's better than most of the Premier League stadiums that we go to.
I picked Edwin Imboila because Nkana Football Club
is playing at and the last time they were playing at Imboila, it was a swimming pool, Nkana versus Nkwazi.
Of course,
that's a story for another
and
day.
We won.
Yeah, and going into this afternoon's games, Zesco Malaiti will need to get the results to try and get away from the relegation zone. But I see a draw in this encounter because Trident coming away from home, it's been a long trip and they wouldn't love to go back empty-handed.
All right. So the log standing in the National Division 1 is as follows. We have Trident having played 10 games with 21 points. Mufria Wanderers having played 10 games with 19 points. Jumulo, 10 games, 18 points, and closing the gap on the 4 slots that are earmarked for promotion is no other than Kafue Eagles, having played 10 games with 17 points, closely being followed by Indeni in 5th position, having played 10 with 15 points as well. Konkora Blades occupying the 6th position with 15 points as well. Mutondo Stars on 7th position with 14 points. Young Green Buffaloes occupying 8th position at 14 points. City of Lusaka occupying 9th position at 14 points. Livingstone Pirates position 10 at 14 points. Augustine, before I proceed, we have 5 teams that are separated by 1 point. You sleep, you snooze, you are out. Now, all these teams are facing a possible promotion to play the Absa Cup. And now, it's so close and so tight. What are the players and coaches thinking about as they go into these afternoon's games? Especially when you look at the 5 teams that I'm talking about, that is Indeni, Konkora Blades, Mtondo Stars, City of Lusaka, Green Buffaloes, Young Green Buffaloes, and Livingstone Pirates. Very, very tight, I must confess. Very, very tight.
Yeah, it's a very, very tight league. I think from top to bottom, the points difference is very, very little. This weekend, when you win, you are closer to the top 4. The next weekend, when you lose, you are closer to the relegation. Yeah, so you can see it's a very, very competitive league. There are no easy games in the National League, and even teams like Lusaka Dynamos, who started very, very poorly, have started collecting points. They are making it difficult for everyone, and it's pretty much exciting. We always look forward for the next fixtures because the league is very, very tight, and each and every team is battling hard to try and win promotion or probably qualify for the Absa Cup, which is the only cup competition in the country, and the qualification closes halfway through the season.
Well, sitting in the 11th position is Aguila Stars, having played 10 games.
A team which was
once league leaders.
The league leaders.
No, once league leaders in week 2 and 3.
So you can see.
I think week 2, 3, and 4, they were league leaders.
They were league leaders. Then Livingstone Pirates took over. They were also league leaders. But now you can see how things have changed. It's a very, very tricky league. Even Konkora Blades, a team which was in the relegation zone, they are now eyeing that promotion place. Yeah,
so we have Atletico Lusaka sitting in the 12th position at 11 points. Zesco Malaiti is at 11 points. Kitwe United occupying the last safest slot in Division 1 on 11 points as well. In the relegation battle, we have Kafue Celtic occupying that 15th position at 10 points. We have Bats at 9 points. Lusaka Dynamos position 17 at 8 points. Last but not the least, Mpulungu Haba sitting at the bottom of the log on 8 points, having played 10 games. And that sums up our discussion on the National Division 1. And we'll take a very, very quick break and shift our focus to the Zambian Super League before we look at our players who are plying their trade outside Zambia as they have their own games this coming weekend. We'll take a very quick break and we'll see you on the other side.
Cabbages, onions, maize, potatoes, tomatoes, chilies. At Rainglow, we supply great quality irrigation for the mentioned crops and more at an affordable price. Get our 2,000 meter flat drip for as low as 2,900 kwacha, or our 500 meter round hose for 1,300 kwacha. Customize your own spacing with our 500 meter blank round hose going for 1,200 kwacha, ideal for orchards such as avocado, mango, banana, oranges, etc. Rainglow Irrigation, best quality, best price.
A very, very good welcome back to our last segment. And now we are going to look at the Zambian Super League games that will be taking place this afternoon. And of course, we'll look at what has been happening at the Football House, where we have our very own Football Association of Zambia having advertised that particular job. And probably we've been hearing a lot of stories about the applicants as well as the squad that Moses Chone has summoned to face Israel in that friendly international that will be taking place this month. And for now, let's look at the games that will be played this afternoon across the country in the Zambian Super League. And hot on the day is Nkoloma Stadium, and probably we are hoping for the best, that the good Lord out there tries to stop those rains so that we can go and see the free-flowing football that will be taking place at Nkoloma Stadium, where our very own NAPSA Stars will be hosting sensational, not so sensational, Zanaco this particular season. And of course, NAPSA Stars struggled last weekend when they visited Buitcon Football Club in Ndola, where everybody else has been collecting maximum points. But they went to Ndola, traveled to Ndola, and came back with nothing. And this afternoon at 13 hours in that early kickoff, they face sensational Zanaco Football Club, Augustine.
Very, very good encounter. Lusaka Derby, Zanaco playing, visiting NAPSA Stars and Nkoloma Stadium. NAPSA Stars have been in brilliant form in the last 5 games. They've drawn 2 and won 3. They've faced teams like Zesca United. They've faced Ka Warriors in this time. They faced Kansashi Dynamos. I think NAPSA Stars are on the right path. They look like a team that will force their way into the top 6 and qualify for the APSA Cup and come and defend it, come on the second round. Zanaco are a team that haven't really been doing very, very well. They are struggling, Zanaco. they played to a goalless draw against Power Dynamos in week 10. It was a very, very boring encounter. There was nothing to write home about in that encounter. Zanaco, under Emmanuel Amunike as a consultant.
Have you seen any major differences?
Yeah, the difference is there because now they are a little bit hard to beat. They are not losing games like they used to lose games. Now you can see at least Zanaco are getting draws, but they need to get into the next step and start getting victories because the consultant has got a lot of draws to his name.
The second game we'll see Red Arrows Football Club at 15 hours hosting for the Malembe, the best defensive team in the league.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult.
This is a very, very tricky encounter because they have been the bogey side for Red Arrows for a very long time for Forest Rangers. Red Arrows have always found it difficult getting results against Forest Rangers. Last time these two teams played at Nkoloma Stadium, the game ended in a goalless draw. And this time around, they're coming in high spirits, Forest Rangers, after their 1-0 victory at home. Clifford Mulenga, he never gets old, hey, does he? Clifford Mulenga, the special left footer, he got the winner in their previous encounter, and now Red Arrows are coming from a game where they played Ghana Football Club. It ended goalless, and it's going to be an exciting encounter. And I must take this opportunity to congratulate Bono Mwape. He's no longer a bachelor now. Congratulations to Bono Mwape and Esther Mwape.
Well, Bono Mwape finally managed to get married in the course of the week, and we can only wish him all the best. And probably that particular goal that we've been waiting for, the goals that he's been hunting for as a super striker, will start coming his way. Because
he has obtained favor now from the Lord.
As it is. You are the only one who doesn't have favor at the moment. Well, let's look at this afternoon's game. Let's look at where Red Arrows must be and how important this particular fixture is, Augustine, when it comes to Forest Rangers. Digging deeper into this particular fixture, you will realize that Red Arrows has been very consistent locally. Of course, they were booted out by the Angolan side, and now their only focus is probably keeping that top spot and managing to qualify for the Absa Cup, and hopefully they don't meet a resurgent Napsa Stars again along the way. And for me, Forest Rangers, I think they've just been lacking that killer instinct in front of goal, because defensively they are very, very superb, Augustine. And how do you fancy the chances of Red Arrows going past Forest Rangers at Nkoloma Stadium this afternoon? And a very quick prediction between the two games that will be being played at Nkoloma Stadium before we go to the other fixtures.
Red Arrows, I think the chances that they have is that they are their home team, they are the champions, and they would love to stamp authority in games like this. Forest Rangers, like you have said, defensively they have been very, very sound. When Ian Bakala took over this job at Forest Rangers, they were licking in goals for fun. Forest Rangers scored, the number of goals they scored was the number of goals they were conceding. So now he's coming this season, he's made them a little bit solid, a little bit compact, very, very hard to beat, and you can see they've got the meanest defense in the league. That takes a lot of hard work, and one player who has been very, very impressive has been young Gerard Simusokwe for Forest Rangers. He came from Lumana Radiants. Then he sustained a very, very bad injury. He had to wait until this season to make his Forest Rangers debut, and he's been very, very brilliant for them. And Red Arrows at home, probably I'll give it to Red Arrows 2-1. In the early game, Napsa Stars will win it by 2-1 as well. We expect goals this afternoon at Nkoloma Stadium than we had last weekend.
And you know, Augustine, that particular game is a game where Sensational Zanaco Football Club is very close to my heart, as well as
Napsa Stars.
Those are my friends.
And you see that Augustine Mulenga facing his former team.
His former big side. And you know, even his return to the Zambian Super League, we had very high rumors.
He was close to joining.
He was close to say signing for Zanaco Football Club, but now he'll be playing on the opposite side. And this afternoon again, we will have Sensational FC Muza in Mazabuka hosting Prison Leopards. Prison Leopards, very, very consistent this season, Augustine. When you look at how they've been threatening to be top of the log, and on a couple of occasions, they've produced very shocking results.
If you look at Prison Leopards, the last 3 seasons or so, they always start strong. They'll always be in the top 4, there and thereabout. And when it comes to the final running of the season, it helps them stay out of those relegation waters. Prison Leopards, I do not think they're a side that can qualify for continental football. They are very, very far away from that. If you look at the investment that they've put in, yeah, they're heading in the right direction, but it might be a step too far to try and think Prison Leopards might qualify for continental football. What they're doing now is just enough for them to stay up in the Super League, because second round is always tricky. Results are very, very hard to come by. So Prison Leopards, they always get their homework right. Get your results in the first 17 games, and then the second round you try and see where you finish comfortably. And they are facing a very, very tricky young Musa side, which went to Solwezi and lost by 1-0 against Kansanshi Dynamos. Now they welcome their big striker in Andrew Peary. He's back. He's bubbling with confidence.
Having scored that most important goal.
He's just fresh from leading Zambia into the next round at under 23 level. Now he's back. I think he's one of the favorites, Andrew Peary, to win the Golden Boot come the end of the season. He's a very, very prolific striker, and I see this one ending in a stalemate.
Well, we have a very, very strong and important game being hosted at the Independence Stadium in Choma, where Green Eagles will be hosting Chambeshi Football Club. And this particular game is one of the games under the clause of the ultimatum for Alex Namazawa to get that confirmation as the coach of Green Eagles. He was given a 5-game ultimatum, and out of 5, he has brilliantly performed without conceding defeat. And we saw last weekend at Sunset Stadium where he was very, very confident and emerged victorious in that particular game. And now they are hosting Chambishi, struggling Chambishi Football Club, traveling all the way from Chambishi to Choma. Do you expect anything of a challenge that can stop Alex Namazawa from being confirmed the Green Eagles coach?
This is going to be a very interesting counter, because both teams have got their head coaches on administration.
They are on leave. They are
on leave. And if you see what Alex Namazawa has done at Green Eagles, he's brought a different way of play. They play more attacking football. They are pretty much a little bit open. They try and put the ball on the floor. They knock it around very, very well. And Hosea Silimba was very, very impressive in the game against Green Buffaloes, together with their Burundi, I think, is it Burundi midfielder, the foreigner who was playing in holding midfield.
The light guy.
Yeah, he was very, very good in ball. He moved it very, very well. But one thing that you get from Green Eagles, they do not have a lot of goals in them. And one interesting stat coming into this this encounter against Chambishi last season, Green Eagles didn't lose any single game in November, and they won all their 4 games in the month of November. So it sends danger to Chambishi. It's a straight Green Eagles win.
Well, the other game that will be hosted this afternoon, for me, it's struggling. Lumwana Radiance versus Nchanga Rangers. And Nchanga Rangers, out of their last 5 games, they have never won a game in the last 5 games. They have been lost 2 times and drawn 3 times. And that momentum that they came with in the Zambian Super League has probably died a natural death, and Lumwana Radiance, built on Zonda's lads, are blowing hot and cold. They're not so consistent this season, and they'll be at home against Nchanga Rangers.
Yeah, I think Nchanga Rangers is one side which came into the Super League, started very, very brightly. They were dreaming of continental football in the first 4 games, because they did very, very well on Nchanga Rangers. But along the way, after that defeat away in Mazabuka against Musa, you would see that now they started panicking Nchanga Rangers. There's a lot of chopping and changing in their starting 11. Nchanga Rangers, they need to try and rectify that. Their defense has let them down a little bit. In the game against Red Arrows, they are all over the place. The Nchanga Rangers defenders going forward, Christian Saide, Pedro Miguel, they need to find their scoring boots. They are not getting enough goals to try and see Nchanga Rangers finish in a very, very respectable position in this Super League. This league is very, very unforgiving. Once you snooze, you lose. And Lumwana Radiance beat on Musonda He did brilliantly at the start of the season. They looked like they were a team that was going to stay up, but they've dropped a lot of points along the way. They need to try and make it effortless, especially playing at home. They need to get maximum points. When you are playing your fellow promoted side, that's a 6-pointer. You need to get the results. But this time around, both teams are struggling. I see a draw in this encounter.
Very quickly, Powerful Power Dynamos, the smartest club, our yellow, will be hosting Green Buffaloes. And Green Buffaloes, having bounced back, they need to bounce back this afternoon. Looking at the defeat they had against Green Eagles last weekend at Sunset Stadium, they lost by a goal to 0, where we also saw Power Dynamos drawing against Sensational Zanaco Football Club, and now the two will be facing each other, trying to resurrect their winning formulas this afternoon at Arthur Davis Stadium.
Yeah, GBFC are going into this encounter without their first choice goalkeeper in Kasongo. He was sent off against
it's a blessing in disguise.
And he cost them the match.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot
of... And Augustine, every time you and I are having a discussion about that, that goalkeeper is good.
Yes.
But you see, he's not, how can I put it? He's not a goalkeeper that can consistently give you what you want.
There's always a mistake in him.
And that mistake always results in the defeat.
It always costs the team, I think. Every time they concede, he's at the center of it. And GBFC started very, very brightly, were unbeaten up until they met Red Arrows. And I would say it was the goalkeeper's fault why Red Arrows won the match. I think it was a long-range strike by Joseph Piri. He could have kept that ball out of the net, but unfortunately they conceded through that. And from the time when they got beat against Red Arrows, GBFC haven't been the same again. They have been blowing hot and cold. The consistency is no longer there. They are now finding it very, very hard to try and get results. And they will come back, Gordon Mashata and John Kosam, who are part of the under-23. They may just bring something different to this GBFC team. The biggest problem with GBFC, I think, is
the boy was there last weekend.
Yeah, they came in as super subs, but this time around, probably they will start. And going forward, that's where you find. I don't see GBFC having a striker who will get them 10 goals in the season. George Ngoma started very well, but he's a striker who he has got moments in the season, and I don't think he might be the guy that will see GBFC throughout the season. And this game against Power Dynamos winning 2-1.
Last but not the least, this afternoon, coachless Zesco United Football Club will be hosting Buildcon Football Club at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium this afternoon. And that game, we'll see how the party spoilers in Buildcon might just turn up in numbers and just deliver that shocking result this afternoon, because it's a derby of Ndola.
Yeah, derbies, I think when it comes to derbies, every time form is thrown outside the window. It's all about the bragging rights that are at stake, and I Buildcon side, which haven't managed to get a victory this far. They are playing good football, but they cannot just manage to put the ball in the back of the net. They are playing against a Zesco United side who are lacking in confidence, if we have to be honest, and they are a team again who are on the lookout for a coach. There are a lot of vacancies in Zambian football. Zesco United, they do not have a striker who get them a lot of goals to win games, and defensively they have been found wanting. That's why they are losing a lot of games, because Zesco United in the last 10 games that they have played in the league, they have conceded the first goal in most of these games. That's their biggest problem. If they can rectify that, well and good, and they may challenge for the league title again. But I see Zesco United win maybe 3-1.
Wow, well said and done. Let's look at what Moses Sichone has assembled a squad that will be facing in a friendly. We will have a friendly game that will be taking place, I think, this particular month, and we have seen the coming back of one Stopira Nsunzu in the squad. And very quickly, Augustine, let's look at the squad that Moses Sichone has summoned to the national soccer team. And surprisingly, before you look at the complete squad, Augustine, Stopira Nsunzu is back.
Yeah, Stopira Nsunzu is back. The last time he was here, it was the game that we were beaten 5-1 against Algeria in Algeria, and we haven't seen Stopira Nsunzu since then. But now he's back. He brings in experience. He brings a cool head in that defense. It's an area where we have always been found wanting, and Moses Sichone, in his short time that he has been with the group, he has noticed that.
Well, we have a complete squad that Moses Sichone has called to the national soccer team, and very quickly, Augustine, before we announce the squad, the coaching job was advertised at the national team, and we've been hearing stories of a very big list of coaches. And what would be your preferred candidate amongst the ones that are being rumored to take over the job before we go to the squad?
I think from Wednesday we heard that there have been about 30 applicants who have applied for the vacancy. This time around, this is an appointment which the association cannot get wrong this time around. We need to try and bring the right man into the job. The previous managers that have been at the helm, they have been pretty much not convincing. You look at Milutin Sorodojevic. He was a coach who was very, very pragmatic. We played a very, very defensive game. We used to grind our way through matches, and that's not good for Zambian football. The previous game, Ken Rogers, the guy was just too basic. There was nothing unique about his playing style. Now we need someone who come in and bring an identity to our football. Defensively, he has to make us a little bit solid, and he needs to try and get the best from our flair players. That's one thing which we haven't been noticing. Our flair players have struggled under the managers in the last 5 years, and the next manager will need to get that right.
Well, here is the full squad that Coach Moses Sichone has announced and summoned to go and represent Zambia in that particular friendly that will be taking place. In the goalkeeping department, surprisingly, one Jeban Tembo is going to be summoned, has been summoned to the national soccer team, having played at the under-20, under-23, and now he's been given a special consideration to represent the country at the senior level. He makes the goalkeeping department where we have Tostan Sawata, Jeban Tembo, and Lawrence Mlenga from Power Dynamos. In defense, we have Frank Msonda, Benedict Chepeshi, John Chimba, Tandi Mwape, Dominic Chanda, Stopira Nsunzu, Kondwani Chiwoni, and Luka Banda. That completes our defense that Coach Moses Sichone has summoned to the team. And we now shift our focus to the midfield department, where we have Edward Chirufia. Benson Sakala makes a big return to the national team for the first time in over a year now. And now we also have Lamek Banda, Emmanuel Banda, Roderick Kabwe, Kings Kangwa, Cletus Chama makes a big return as well from Simba FC, and Lubambo Msonda, Larry Walia, and Prince Mumba from Croatia make that midfield compact. Amongst the strikers that have been summoned, we also have seen a very big return after that big performance consistently at Simba FC in Moses Piri making the squad. We have Moses Piri, Patson Daka, and Fashion Sakala completing the squad. Augustine, very quickly, under 1 minute.
Wow.
Your comment.
It's interesting how Moses Sichone has gone for this squad. He's been very brave in some of the call-ups that he's make. I feel for Jeban Tembo, probably we are rushing
the
him.
Most consistent.
We are rushing him, I think, from under 20, now he's under 23, and soon he will be with the senior national soccer team. You have to have in mind that this is a very young upcoming goalkeeper who hasn't even yet made this Red Arrows debut. Probably, maybe Chisimbewe might be forced to start him this afternoon. And in central midfield, Benson Sakala. I think one thing that I can highlight from what the squad that he has scored up, Moses Sichone has identified our Achilles. One, it's in defense. We have got problems in defense, and he has brought in Stopian to try and stabilize that department. And another interesting addition is John Chishimba and Kondwani Chiwoni. These are fullbacks who are coming in these areas where we haven't had a lot of consistency in the left and right side. They are fullbacks, and they are coming in to offer competition to try and give the coach different dimension. Central midfield, we have always been calling for a defensive midfielder who will sit in front of our back four, dictate play, and break the opposition's attack. And Benson Sakala is coming in to do that. He's been getting in some game time for his club in Czech Republic. It's going to be a very, very huge boost for him. Moses Piri this is probably the last chance at national team level. If he doesn't get it right, I think to me it will be very, very good, difficult for him to come back to the national team setup in future. But he offers good competition, Patson Daka and Fashion Sakala and the likes.
Well, all said and done, the squad has been summoned to go and represent the country, and you see the pride of wearing those Zambian colors. It remains very, very high, and you can only wish them the best. One surprise miss is Kelvin Muba.
It's not a surprise.
Perfect decision by coach Moses Sichone. The discipline side of things has costed the young lad a place in the national team.
Even not just the discipline side, performance-wise, Zesco United, Kelvin Mwanga Kampamba for Zesco United this season, I think to me he has been very, very average. He hasn't influenced games like you would hope he would. And there's one name which I haven't heard from the list, Miguel Chaiwa.
He's missing from the squad.
That's where we get it wrongly. This is a boy
but Miguel is a player who's been relegated from the senior team. So you don't expect him to command that starting berth at the national team, because even at his own club, he's not playing for the main team.
Yeah, but if we are going to look, national team call-ups are not all about form. There are a lot of players in there who are out of form. There are a lot of players in there who are not playing consistently for the national team. But what you have is a clear identity where you have to go as a football club, and loyalty is something which comes first at national team level. Because there are certain players who might be doing well for club football, bring them to the national team, they won't perform. And there are players like Miguel Chaiwa, we see them as future Chipolopolo boys stars, and he might be not commanding his place at young boys, but it's just the environment that is in. We want this player to go and get to the highest level. We need him to be involved in the setup.
Well, all said and done about the national team, and now let's shift our attention to our very own Camnet Stars Football Club. Remember, Camnet Stars, we have two teams that participate in the FAS Organized League, and one of the teams is in Division 4 and the other is in Division 2. Let's look at the fixtures that the Division 4 team will be having this afternoon. We have Michael Morden will be hosting Camnet Stars at Kindu School at 15 hours on Sunday this afternoon at 15 hours, and that particular game will be hosted at Kindu School, where Michael Morden will be hosting Camnet Stars. And most interesting is the Division 2 team, Camnet Stars Football Club, the log leaders. And very quickly, Augustine will look at the log in Division 2, where Camnet Stars are league leaders, and they are occupying the first position, having played 11 games with 21 points, closely followed by Morning Stars, who have been played 11 games and they are sitting at 20 points. In third position, we have Welcome at 19 points. Fourth position, Mrs. Youth Academy at sitting at fourth position with 18 points as well. Sebo Boos have moved from second position to fifth on 17 points. Young Cox, 17 points. Ewin Rangers at position 7 with 16 points. Lusaka Tigers occupying the 8th position at 15 points. Kabwata Dynamos, 9 games, position 9 at 14 points as well. Very, very tight in that space. We have Bowdeni Super Eagles at 13 points. State House, not so stately at the point. They are occupying that 12th position at 12 points, having played 11 games. Then we have Pataki sitting on the 13th position on 12 points as well. George United sitting at position 14 on 11 points. Happy Hearts at position 15 with 11 points. Kabide sitting on 16th at 11 points as well. ZISD is sitting on 17th position on 10 points. Young Red Arrows, the whipping boys of Division 2, are sitting at the bottom of the table, Augustine. I don't know what is happening to your Red Arrows team, including their young ones. The senior one is occupying first position in the Zambian Super League, but here is young Red Arrows with all the investment, having played 11 games, sitting at 10 points. And now let's look at the fixture that Camnet Stars is going to have to play tomorrow, Sunday at 15 hours, and the venue is Kablonga Boys Secondary School, where our very own Camnet Stars will be hosting Mrs. Youth Academy at 15 hours tomorrow, Augustine. Camnet Stars, the players and the team that is born for greatness. We are building a fantastic machinery in that particular team. And when you look at our chairman, Pastor Moses, and Victoria Chiluba, they have built a team that is not a pushover and is grinding results. The team, the players that have a belief that they are born for greatness. And now they are in the driving seat at that top position in Division 2.
Yeah, I think massive credit goes to Pastor Moses and Victoria Chiluba. The vision that they have for this team, the direction that it's headed, and you could see their effort that they are putting in. It's brilliant. And these young boys can see that this team has got a bright future. There's direction here at Cabinet Stars. And one thing is that soon people will realize this big vision and see how it will help Zambian football in the near future. And Cabinet Stars coming up against Missis, it's a very, very big game, and we expect a very, very big attendance, because Missis, they always travel with their fans. They play good football, but they are coming up against a Cabinet Stars side which is very, very brave. They are very, very fearless. They play champagne football.
Find your way to Kablonga Boys Secondary School tomorrow at 15 hours to go and enjoy that fantastic free-flowing football from our Cabinet Stars boys as they host Mrs. Youth Academy tomorrow at 15 hours. And Augustine, your closing remarks, and you know, we are running out of time now. But tomorrow, remember, Nkana Football Club has traveled all the way to come and play Nkwazi Football Club at Edwin Imboyela Stadium as a last fixture of the weekend tomorrow at 15 hours.
Yeah, we last weekend we hosted the Nkana CEO. He talked about the positivity around the team as they were taking on Red Arrows, and probably that was Nkana's best performance of the season. They played very, very well. Yes, they were very, very dominant, and they would pick positives from that side. If you are struggling, as like Nkana have been doing this season, you try and pick positives from there and go forward and improve. They are coming up against Nkwazi. It's always a tricky encounter, and we expect explosive tomorrow at Edwin Imboyela Stadium. And a big thanks to the entire production team for making this possible. We always thank you, the viewers, for joining us. We always appreciate your effort and your support, and we would like to urge each and every one of you to try and trek to the stadiums and support Bola Yapazed. Yes, it's raining, but Bola Yapazed will excite you.
Well, all said and done, all I can say is keep watching Camnet TV, because Camnet is not just another channel. From me, your host, Rabson Skombe, a very big thank you to Isaac, who's been controlling us upstairs there. And a very big thank you to the entire production team for this wonderful program that we keep bringing to your screens every Saturday morning at 9:30 hours. From me, signing off. God bless you and see you next weekend.